Senior Planning Officer at NIDCO. Friends, colleagues, today is indeed a significant day. Not only because we're signaling the restart of this major physical infrastructure project, but today's event is evidence of the government delivering on its promise. This highway is part of government's plan to create a modernized physical infrastructure platform to enable balanced economic and social development across the country. So we thank the government for continuing their vision for development, and we can applaud. We also thank the government for allowing the Ministry of Works and Transport and certainly NIDCO for being a part of the process, not just being a part of the process, but important partners in building this, in building the nation. Our program this morning will be very short because we acknowledge that it's a bit warm where we are today. So at this point in time, we're going to invite the chairman of NIDCO to bring us a few words and also to deliver the project brief. Mr. Herbert George.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In the interest of time, permit me to use the phrase, all protocol observed. Honorable Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Rowley, MP, Honorable Senator Mohan Sinanan, Minister of Works and Transport, PS from the Ministry of Works and Transport. I want to, on behalf of NIDCO, thank you all and welcome all to this recommissioning function that we are holding today to mark the resumption of works on this very important highway infrastructural project, the Sir Solomon Hochoy Highway Extension to Point Fortin. It is approaching 1 year now since we terminated the contract on July 6, 2016 of the previous contractor, OAS, for his lack of performance. Subsequent to that termination, we took possession of the site. We carried out maintenance works on the unfinished work fronts. We also did a detailed audit of the state of the project, all with a view to resuming works as soon as possible. But we are slowed in our efforts to so do because of legal matters arising out of the challenge brought by OAS, who has challenged his termination. Indeed, there are ongoing legal matters, and in fact, right now the matter is being pursued in the London Court of International Arbitration, and the proceedings continue there. However, we have been given the all clear by our legal team and by the experts whom we retain to prosecute those legal matters. We have the all clear now to move on. The question might be asked, what are we resuming today? We are resuming work on a project with the following particulars. The original project was started on March 28, 2011. The previous completion date was May 28, 2016. The overall project budget at the time was 7.502 billion TT dollars. The amount spent on the project to date is 5.088 billion TT dollars. The physical works actually accomplished is 49%. The original contract sum to that contractor was 5.213 billion TT dollars, and he has been paid to date $3.521 billion. So there is much to salvage with no room for error. So working in concert with our line ministry, we commenced work today on the first work package, which includes work from at the East Dumfries Road down to that bridge here over the Mosquito Creek. The work will include general road works, drainage works, earth retaining structures, a roundabout at the eastern end near to Dumfries Road, road safety and traffic devices. Upon completion, the public will be presented with a 4-lane urban connector road that will improve the volume of service on that section of roadway. Other packages will be rolled out until all the unfinished works down to the southernmost end at Point Fortin are completed. Our main objective will be to establish connectivity between the north and south in the shortest possible time. And that will give the public full and beneficial use of the finished highway. A secondary and important objective will be to complete the unfinished works left by the terminated contractor, or as it is described sometimes, the unfinished works within the scope of OAS. And this is required because, well, first of all, we must make this is an important distinction that we need to make, because all the unfinished works do not fall within the scope of OAS. Thanks to that, I think it's in the public domain, that, what is called Addendum 2. A significant section, 11.75 kilometers of the original roadways, was excised from the OAS scope. That section included the segment between Pinal and Mandezir, and another section from La Brea to the southern main road. So what is left is the reduced scope of OAS, and our initial focus will be to complete the scope of works in that reduced scope. And why are we doing that? We are doing so because as a result of the legal proceedings that have been mounted against us by OAS, we have an extra duty of care to complete those works in the shortest possible time and in the most economic way. And as a result, we have to rush ahead and finish those works, after which we will look at the excised portion. We are approaching this start armed with the benefits gained from the lessons learned during the first false start. In our management of the new works, we will hold contractors to fulfilling their contractual responsibilities on time, within budget, and in accordance with the design specification. We shall adhere strictly to the terms of the contract in our management of time, cost, quality, and health and safety risks. We therefore look forward to working with all successful contractors in delivering the end product, of which we shall all be justly proud. I thank you.
For former Minister of Works, Mr. Fitzgerald Hines, and welcome, sir. And I must have been remiss when I did not mention and welcome the hard-working members of staff, officials and members of staff of NIDCO. Today with us, we have our new president, Ms. Esther Farmer. We have other members of the engineering team. We have procurement. We have so many persons. We have representatives from legal. So this is a demonstration of NIDCO's commitment to getting it right and to getting this project done in accordance with our mandate. And it is a project that we can all be proud of, because it is certainly one of the largest infrastructural projects within the Caribbean region. When it is completed, it will be a masterpiece, and we're confident that it will fulfill the purpose for which it has been built. At this time, we want to invite Senator the Honorable Rowan Sinanan, Minister of Works and Transport, to bring us some remarks.
I'm not as tall as you think, you know. All right. I guess Faris, when I'm in South, I'm pretty short. Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, Dr. the Honorable Keith Rowley, Attorney General of Trinidad and Tobago, Member of Parliament for San Fernando West, the Honorable Faris Alwari, Minister of Planning and Development, the Honorable Camille Robinson Regis, Minister of National Security, the Honorable Edmund Dillon, Member of Parliament for San Fernando West, and Minister of Housing, East, Mr. Randall Mitchell, the Honorable Member, Senator, the Honorable Kazim Hussein, Minister of Local Government, the Honorable Minister Fitzgerald Hines, and the person who have paved the way for me as the new Minister of Works to actually have this project open this morning. The Mayor of San Fernando, Your Worship, Mr. Junior Regrello, Your Worship, the Mayor of Point Fortin, Alderman Abdan Mason, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Works, Ms. Danmati Ramdat, the Chairman of NIDCO, other staff members of NIDCO, President, other members of the Ministry of Works, specially invited guests, members of the media, good morning. As the Minister of Works and Transport, I am proud of the opportunity to lead the charge in the development and implementation of the much-needed transport solutions for the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. Since assuming office in late 2016, I, along with the team at the Ministry of Works and Transport and essential stakeholders like NIDCO, have worked intensely with specific goals at the fore. The major ones, including facilitating the essential movement of people and goods efficiently across Trinidad and Tobago, ensuring that such travel is accessible and secured, and working to provide regulatory solutions that meet and evolve transportation needs of the nation. For this reason, it gives me great pleasure to be here this morning to officiate at the recommencement of the Solomon Hochoy Highway extension to Point Fortin. Today, this venture continues in spite of its history of challenges and controversy. From 1967, the National Transportation Plan articulated the need for a highway from San Fernando to Point Fortin. Moreover, feasibility studies down the decades have echoed the need for a safe and reliable extension for more convenient access. Jumping ahead to more recent times, in 2011, design-build contractor OAS was engaged by NIDCO to complete the design and construction with the handover date of March 2015. The latter extended to May 2016. However, during this phase of implementation in March 2015, the OAS filed for judicial reorganization in Sao Paulo, Brazil, which among other issues resulted in a reduction of the original scope of works. By December 2015, OAS demobilized permanently, resulting in the termination of 1,100 workers. The climate of instability caused serious protests by workers and a barrage of court action and judgment to ultimately pay outstanding debts. Another setback came in September 2016, when 11.75 kilometers of the roadworks from Pinal to Mondesir and Labre to Southern Main Road was ordered to be exiled. But finally, in February of this year, NIDCO was successful in their claim for the award of 940.7 million TT dollars, almost $1 billion. And in mid-February, Cabinet granted approval for the continuation of this essential work. I am most certain that the extension of this highway will bring about great convenience. Likewise, the articulate road adjoining to this carriageway will improve the transport system to the southwestern part of Trinidad. It will bring about safer route access, greater flow of traffic, and opportunity for social and economic development. Indeed, this 43-kilometer stretch from Golconda to Pinal, Debe, Siparia, Faizabad, and Dumfries roundabout in Point Fortin will serve in some way every resident and visitor to this area. Therefore, the investment of 95 million TT dollars for Package 2A is worth every penny, as it will add to the road system, providing greater convenience and enhancing the life of the citizens. It is for this reason, government, with the emphasis on value for money under the Ministry of Works and Transport and NIDCO, is moving ahead with the construction of the Solomon Hochoy Highway extension to Point Fortin. And certainly the next time you all are on this stretch of road, I am sure the experience will be quite different. Ladies and gentlemen, I refer to some highlights of the turbulent past attend to this much needed project. I told you a story of climate and industrial upheaval, unsatisfactory performance, and unfortunate do-overs. However, today the weather is changing. Today, relaunch is a portion of the rollout of the system for integrated transport solution piloted by the ministry under this government. It falls squarely within the national policy framework of national development. In fulfilling our aims, constructions like this plays a key role the national socio-economic success in hiring upon our ability as a people to get around safely, interact, and seize the opportunity that will usher us into the future. Therefore, in the months ahead, citizens can look forward to commencement of other projects under the Ministry of Works and Transport as it continues to work assiduously to ensure first-class roads. In the category of road and highway, currently projects include the Valencia to Toco Highway. The route alignment and conceptual designs were completed for construction by WSP Caribbean Limited in March 2017. The Wallerfield to Manzanilla Highway. Evaluation of the tender package 1A and 1B should be completed within 2 weeks. The Muruga Upgrade Road. We anticipate that work will begin in fiscal 2018. The San Fernando to Princeton Highway is expected to commence in fiscal 2018. The Port of Spain to Chaguaramas Roadway. Financial negotiations are being conducted by NIDCO with the consultant to be engaged and, among other items, prepare tender documents for the project. The Fast Ferry Port to Toco. Tender negotiations are being conducted for the engagement of the consultant for site selection and conceptual designs. In the area of walkover and interchange, the C-lots, work have already begun and should be finished by August of this year. The Curab interchange, tenders for the design-build contract were issued in March of this year and will close in early June. The Diego Martin overpass, financial negotiations are ongoing with the consultant to be engaged for a design-build approach for this construction. Transport is life itself. Imagine any thriving society. It will reflect the picture of people and goods moving, individuals going where they need to go and arrive safely. Therefore, what we engage in today will no doubt help us to realize the time and place in our future where prosperity will move closer within our gaps due to greater connectivity. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you.
Thank you, Minister Sinanan. Gentlemen, I now ask that you stand as we invite to the podium the Honorable Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Rowley, Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago.
Madam Chairperson, Your Worship, the Mayor of San Fernando, Alderman Junior Agrello, my cabinet colleagues at the head table, the Minister of Works and Transport, Senator Rohan Sinanan, and my other cabinet colleagues who are here in their numbers this morning, I think representing more of a constituent interest than a cabinet interest. I see here the Member of Parliament for Point Fortin, Minister of National Security, the Member of Parliament for San Fernando West, Attorney General Faisal Rawi, Member of Parliament for San Fernando East, Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Minister Randall Mitchell, former Mayor of San Fernando and now Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, Senator Kazim Hussain, my colleague from Laventil East Mova, former Minister of Works, now Minister of Public Utilities, Minister Fitzgerald Hines, other members of the Cabinet, members of Parliament, members of Council of San Fernando and other cities and boroughs around. Also, I would like to acknowledge the chairman and members of the board of NIDCO and the staff of NIDCO who have been working assiduously under tremendous pressure from the cabinet to get this project going. And I see here in the audience, and I must acknowledge him, the mayor of Point Fortin, Councillor Abdul Basin, other members of council from Point Fortin, members of the community of San Fernando, members of the Ministry of Works led by the Permanent Secretary, the members of staff at the Ministry of Works, members of the security services, members of the media, distinguished citizens of Trinidad and Tobago all. Thank you very much for coming out this morning in what is a very unusual development. For those of you who live in this area and those of you who have been following the promise and actions surrounding this effort to get a highway into Point Fortin, you might be asking, why are we turning the sod this morning? Because it will be the second time that the sod would be turned for this project. We don't normally do that. But on this occasion, symbolic and otherwise, it's important that we do it. Because it represents something that is important to all of us as a country. And permit me a moment of your attention to tell you why this morning is important. You see, it is very easy for us, those of us in the political arena, to be ridiculed and chastised by those who are not in the political arena and who are not charged with the responsibility of governance in this country. But I can point out to you that what this morning represents is a fundamental shift in the behavior of the government of Trinidad and Tobago. A couple nights ago, I was looking at a very prominent local speaker who indicated that what should be done in this country now is a reduction in expenditure and diversification of the economy. Very lofty ideals. But of course, the person who was talking about that was a union leader. And I know, as government, that as you reduce expenditure, it automatically impacts upon people, because more often than not, that reduction in expenditure results in loss of jobs in some areas of the economy where that expenditure is reduced. So as you call for reduction of expenditure, that same voice very quickly talks about increase in persons in the breadline, not making any connection between both. And of course, the same voice says, diversify the economy. But as you talk about diversifying the economy, it means doing something else, selling something else, getting involved in something else other than what you've been involved in. And one of the things that we were about to be involved in this country was entry into the aluminium market. And we make the point again that aluminium is not oil, it is not gas, it's a different product whose consumption is growing in the international market because it's replacing steel in the construction of motor vehicles and many, many other products. We wanted to enter the aluminum market. At the time, the intention was to build a smelter in Trinidad and Tobago, and from that smelter to create aluminium ingots and to drive an industry which would afford us to export certain aluminium products. I could tell you today without contradiction, had that project been completed, now that we are desperate for foreign exchange, that project, that industry would have been generating significant foreign exchange earnings to Trinidad and Tobago. But our government came into office with a change of policy and shut down the project. As I speak to you now, a minister of government of this administration is in China. And one of the issues that he's dealing with in China is the negotiation for the closure and the beginning of negotiations for the costs associated with the closure of that project. So that is one. The other project that suffered the closure and lack of attention was the Alutech project, which specifically also involved aluminium. But that project was to create a business in this country where we would have been exporting aluminum wheels for the motor car industry, a growth industry in the world. We had good electricity and good prices for electricity, and with aluminum ingots from our own smelter or bought from somebody else, we could have generated a business here in Wallerfield. And in fact, as I speak to you now, there's about $40 million of equipment rusting for the last 6 years in a warehouse somewhere in Trinidad that was supposed to generate that business. That too was shut down and forgotten. And of course, the E-Tech Park that was supposed to generate industries other than oil and gas and tomato and baigan, that E-Tech Park has also been abandoned. So when people tell us now about diversification, we know exactly how to take that. But you see, it wasn't only that. Last week, we opened the Brian Lara Stadium and Academy. And there were persons who took it upon themselves to do everything possible to ensure that that event was a failure. But today I want to congratulate all the persons who left their homes all over Trinidad and Tobago and came to the Brian Lara Academy to demonstrate that we are not all foolish in Trinidad and Tobago. And the reason that was given for the non-completion of that facility was that it would have cost first 180 million, then 200 million, then 250 million. And as a result of those estimates, it was viewed as feasible to abandon that facility. We have completed that facility within budget and within time for under $90 million. And notwithstanding its troubled history, today the world has seen the opening of the latest stadium in the cricket. And very soon, or sometime in the not too distant future, international games will be played there. And very, very soon, our youngsters and youngsters from the region and the world will come to that location, and just under the name Brian Lara, they will be happy to develop on their career that can do them more than most in Trinidad and Tobago. And I must mention something else too. We talk about sport tourism. We can have very little sport tourism in Trinidad and Tobago of any size, because we are a very small country with 1.3 million people. Any serious attempt to get involved in sport tourism, we're talking about external and the world outside. And when Brian Lara suggested that he wanted to use Sachin Tendulkar's name on that academy, it wasn't because, as our ridiculous friends say in the opposition, that we wanted to use Tendulkar's name to sanitize any project. But Brian Lara wanted to open to the world an academy where Brian Lara and Sachin Tendulkar would have been the showpiece in world cricket. And that academy is not just for us, and if it's going to be part of our sports tourism and our business, we are looking for business outside. And Sachin Tendulkar's association with it would have exposed us to the largest cricket market in the world in India. But in Trinidad and Tobago, that matters not. All that mattered was racial brutishness, because some people in this country cannot avoid including race in their discussion in every single thing that they do. And we heard the dog whistles and we heard the racial talk, but at the end of the day, the stadium is open. It's the Brian Lara Academy, and Gary Sobers told me on Friday night it's one of the best stadia in the region, needing no sanitization. But let me move on. So the Brian Lara Stadium has been completed by a government that came in and met an unfinished product. We've said very clearly we will not be pursuing any smelter, but we'll be looking for an opportunity in the aluminium business to do what we should have done in the beginning. So we'll have no smelter. But if we can buy ingots and restart the industry to make wheels and so on, we will do it. The cabinet is now considering a proposal put to us by an Italian company to do some aluminium business, and you'll hear more about that in the future if we succeed in attracting that attention. At the moment, the Ministry of Energy and the Ministry of Planning and Development and the Ministry of the Prime Minister's Office, we are discussing the Memorandum of Understanding, which might see us getting involved in some aluminium business here without a smelter. The Diego Martin Sports Complex. I'm pleased to announce to you now that there's a contractor on site. The foundation was finished before 2010. There's a contractor on site now about to pick it up from where it was left off 5 years ago. And the Diego Martin Sports Complex will be the next sporting facility that will be open in Trinidad and Tobago. We had the foundation for the Bagatelle Community Center. That foundation lies there for 5 years, untouched. I can announce to you this morning that there's a contractor on site completing the construction of the Bagatelle Community Center. And another one is in Mova, about to construct the Mova Community Center, all abandoned after 5 years. The Mova Community Center is in there. And of course, you have the Couva Hospital. The reason given for blocking the highway and disturbing the traffic last Friday was that we should pay more attention to hospital and not the sporting complex. Well, we can do both. This government says we can do both. We can pay attention to both. So we completed the work in the Brian Lara Stadium, and as we said in the Parliament, we are determining how to integrate that Couva Hospital into the National Health Delivery Plant. It was opened as a construction site sometime in 2015. And many of you believe that the hospital was complete and there was an opening. We told you that contractor remained on site as a contractor on a construction site until the middle of 2016. So what we have was an opening of a construction site, but the contractor didn't finish building the hospital until almost a year later. We have said, and we have invited proposals from all interested parties in that kind of business to see whether there's a proposal out there to operate that hospital in a way that will service Trinidad and Tobago, but do something different. That the investment would be used not just to supply services to us, but maybe a wider population and become an income earner within the health plant of Trinidad and Tobago. In the next few days, I'm advising by the Minister of Planning and Development that the team that we put together to evaluate the proposals would submit its report. That report will come to the Cabinet, and if we get a proposal that is satisfactory to the Cabinet, in the next few weeks, we will tell you exactly what the Cabinet has decided will happen with that hospital. But of course, we are not doing like a previous government, which is to ignore part-finished projects. And that is why we are here this morning. Because you see this highway, you would have heard from Mr. George that soon after, I think it was soon after we came into office, the contractor that was on this site abandoned the site and abandoned the workers. And let me remind you, I was on a platform here in San Fernando when the sod was turned in January of a year for this project, and by May nothing had happened because there was no proper financing arrangement in place for this project. And this project, which was awarded to the tune of $7 billion or thereabouts, had no significant financing in place for the project. The project was being financed out of the current account. As government gets money coming in on a Monday, they spend it on a Friday on this project. And the local contracting fraternity had said to the last government, do not give the whole route, the whole contract to one contractor. Break it up into pieces and allow local contractors to be able to tender. They deliberately did not give it to local contractors in pieces, but put the whole contract of $5 billion or $7 billion out, and no local contractor qualified to bid on a project of that size. This government is doing it differently, and that is why this morning we are awarding a contract to a local contractor for $175 million, something like that. 95 million, even better. 95 million, many local contractors could have bid on that project. And there are other pieces of the project where other local contractors will bid, and eventually we, with our local expertise, our local equipment, and our local financing, we will build this highway in Trinidad and Tobago as we could have done from the very beginning. We didn't have to go and hand it to a corrupt Brazilian contractor who went bankrupt halfway. And the bankruptcy was generated by arrests and jailings for corruption in Brazil. We have to assume that that didn't apply in Trinidad and Tobago. When they came to Trinidad and Tobago, they were the sons and daughters of Angel Gabriel. They didn't get corrupt in Trinidad and Tobago. But I'll tell you one thing. There's nothing that galls me more to hear those people who did that come to the parliament and is demanding all kinds of transparency from this government, demanding all kinds of accountability, but they would not acknowledge that the week of the general election, one of them made an arrangement and deleted from the contract the protection of the people of Trinidad and Tobago, removing from the contract the clause which said that the government could fire the contractor if the contractor becomes bankrupt. The last government did that. And I know there are people in this country who don't want to hear us talk about the last government, but we're going to talk about them every single day for the hurt that they have put on the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And if the Integrity Commission was functioning, whoever did that would have had to account for it. Because there's no credible explanation where a contractor that was in trouble in the history of this project could have warranted a government taking out from the contract the clause that protected the people, that said if the contractor goes bankrupt, that is grounds for termination. What they expected to happen is that we could not have removed the contractor from the site. So all now OS would have been here, running up claims, not doing the work, threatening the government, and you in Point Fortin never getting a highway. Well, I want to congratulate a member of my cabinet today, Minister Stuart Young, who brought his legal expertise to the cabinet. And along with NITCO staff, we terminated the contract using external legal help, making sure that we dot all our I's and cross all our T's. And the first thing we did on termination is that we went after the bond, because the contract was bonded to the tune of almost $1 billion. And those who removed the clause from the contract so that the government couldn't terminate the contract, that is what they were protecting. That $1 billion of bond, they were protecting that. The government couldn't go after it. So we fired the contractor and we went after the bonds. The bonds were held by international banks in London and in Brazil and elsewhere. And as we expected, they fought tooth and nail to prevent the government of Trinidad and Tobago from claiming the money in the bonds. We went to court under Minister Young's guidance, and we won every single case, and we got back almost $1 billion. It didn't end there. They didn't stop there. Now that we have the money in our hands, they're going to fight again to prevent us from using the money to complete the project. I must announce this morning, we won that too. So we have legal authority to spend the money on the project now. And I tell you this, so that when my colleagues in the parliament get up and talking about this government, this and this government, that and all kind of foolishness, you have the information, and I want you to ask them if they were the people who did what I just did. And I say to you again, we are getting on with the work in Trinidad and Tobago. We're not fighting the election yet. We're going to fight the election when the election comes. But anytime you want to elect people like that back into office, you're free to have them back. Because you cannot say you didn't know what they did when they were in office. You cannot say that. And that's why this government will tell you every single day what went on here. And that's why we have come back here now. Having won those battles, we come back here now to turn the sod, because this project is on to a new life, and Point Fortin will get its highway. Had we not fought those battles, when they come telling you, nothing going on in the government don't do nothing. You know how many nights and days we fought that battle to win in the court to get that money back? So if you did nothing right, you did that by giving us the authority to fight that fight when they were taking out the clause from the contract to prevent the contractor from being fired. In fact, the workers who were left without paying for money they had earned and work done, the Ministry of Works, from the same money we got back from the bonds, we've paid those workers. And as we open this job, we will create new opportunities for them. And this project for the next 2 years that they're about will provide hundreds of jobs to people. So all those who like the breadline talk, let me hear you now say that the breadline is shorter by hundreds of people who are now going to get jobs under this government, because we are doing what has to be done. What has to be done. And we are not going to do like the last government. And the examples I gave you of projects, important projects being abandoned, economic infrastructure at E-Tech, the aluminum smelter that they shut down, the sporting complex that they shut down, the Brian Lara Stadium where they teeth out everything that was not nailed down. In my own constituency, they allowed a handful of supporters to go away with all the steel, all the blocks, all the lumber, as though they would never come back and finish that project. That project is being finished today. At least it's costing us more, but at the end of the day, the project will be finished. And it is our intention to finish every single project, whether it's halfway, three-quarters way, or just started, to ensure that the intention to give the people of Trinidad and Tobago those facilities, or to create the economic foundation that they should have created, that this government will do that and not engage in attempting to spite anybody by not finishing what they started. And that is why today we are turning the sword to restart this project after a monumental battle which the people of Trinidad and Tobago would have won by standing up for what is right and what is good. But I want to say something as I thank the legal team and the engineering teams that are going to put us to point Fortin. Contractors in Trinidad and Tobago, listen to me very carefully. I notice that the pricing excesses are still going on. The other day we asked for prices to do a swimming pool in Laventil. The price came in at $21 million. We asked for something else to be done somewhere else. The price came in millions above reason. I remember I was in the Manning cabinet when Mr. Manning had to justify why foreign contractors were playing such a big role in Trinidad and Tobago. And the justification was that local contractors had made a career and a culture of one, overpricing projects, two, not finishing them within budget, and three, not finishing them within time. Against that background, the Manning administration invited and got a number of foreign contractors to come into this country at great aggravation to deliver what we claim we couldn't do for ourselves. I'm not going down that road yet. But first road I'm going down is the road of competition and opportunity for our local contractors. Our local contractors will be given the first opportunity on whatever we are doing in Trinidad and Tobago. And that is why we've broken up this project into a number of packages so that as many local contractors can have an opportunity to bid. We are also not going to be selecting friends and family. It will be competition, so you have to put your best foot forward, compete to win. And contrary to what you have heard from some people, we've made no deal with no contracting firm in this country coming into office. We made one statement to all of them, whether they supported the PNM or not. And the statement was this, that everybody will be given a fair opportunity and a fair crack at what this country has to offer. So if you are a contractor who consistently bid high, then you'll get no work. If you are a contractor who bid competitively, you will win some bids. Sometimes you'll win, sometimes you won't. But at the end of the day, we are going to give the local contractors the opportunity. And while we are giving that opportunity, we want the benefit of what you have. There are hundreds of pieces of equipment in this country lying idle. All of them bought by foreign exchange when we had foreign exchange. It is for contractors now to put those equipment to work in the most economical way in their bid. Because you no longer have to go and buy a new bulldozer or a new excavator. You have one in your yard already, and it must be cheaper to use that one than to go and buy a new one. And I want to see that in the bidding, because I'm telling you now, we are able to evaluate the real costs of the projects we put out. And once the local pricing is ridiculous, we will not be stopped by it. If we cannot get the work done in a proper way, pricing and performance-wise, by local input, then we will use foreign input if foreign input will give us. Because the people of Trinidad and Tobago deserve better, and they deserve the best of our contracting fraternity. We know that we can do better. We know that we can get better prices. And the government is standing there to give local contractors the first and the best opportunity. So today, as we turn this out to restart this project, we anxiously look forward to its completion. And of course the other packages. And we look forward to the day when we can get into a vehicle in Point Fortin and drive unimpeded to start to Port of Spain and further, and vice versa. Because our intention is to build the infrastructure so that that economic input will allow us to perform better as a nation. In the meantime, there are opportunities for jobs, opportunities for learning, and I dare say, opportunities for making a reasonable amount of money. So today I want to congratulate the people in NIDCO, people in the Ministry of Works, and all the agencies that worked with us, especially the legal department of the Attorney General's office, because this was a legal fight. And had we lost those battles, we would have lost the money and lost the opportunity which we are giving the workers here today. So thank you very much, and we look forward to good work, efficient work, and quality work on the way to Point Fortin.
Prime Minister, thank you for giving the nation the assurances that of new jobs being created, that opportunities will be created for the local industry, for local content, in the development of the of our infrastructure program. So we thank you, and we thank you, the government. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now at the end, approaching the end of our official ceremony to recommission the San Fernando to Point Fortin Highway. But before we proceed outside, we're going to invite the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Works, Ms. Danmati Ramdath, to bring the vote of thanks.
Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, Dr. the Honorable Keith Rowley, Attorney General of Trinidad and Tobago, Member of Parliament for San Fernando West, the Honorable Faris Alwari, Minister of Works and Transport, Senator the Honorable Rohan Sinanan, Minister of Planning and Development, the Honorable Camille Robinson Regis, Minister of National Security, Major General, the Honorable Edmund Dillon, Minister of Public Utilities, the Honorable Fitzgerald Hines, Minister of Housing and Urban Development and Member of Parliament, San Fernando East, the Honorable Randall Mitchell, Minister of Rural Development and Local Government, Senator the Honorable Kazim Hussein, His Worship, the Mayor of San Fernando, Alderman Junior Regalo, His Worship, the Mayor of Point Fortin, Don Mason, councillors, senior members of NIDCO, senior members of the Ministry of Works and Transport, specially invited guests, members of the media, good afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, as the Permanent Secretary of Ministry of Works and Transport, I wish to express my sincere gratitude for everyone involved in this quintessential project. The extension of the Solomon Hochoy Highway into Point Fortin, as expressed by the Honorable Minister of Works and Transport, came with many challenges. Today, we realize the opportunity for the entire southwestern area, and by extension, the entire country, in the recommissioning of this project. In this regard, I would like to recognize all our partners, especially NIDCO, who will provide project oversight on the Ministry of Works and Transport behalf. Junior Sami Contractors Limited, who will expedite works, and the supervisory and design consultants. Special thanks to our Prime Minister, the Honorable Keith Rowley, who continues to stay the course as we move toward 2030, as endorsed in the feature address. At this time, I also take this opportunity to thank the technical and administrative officers from the Ministry of Works and Transport who have worked tirelessly on this project and who will continue to be vigilant to ensure that this long-awaited
I find it reprehensible be led by Anand Ram Logan challenging a law which he as Attorney General participated in for immediate implementation in the clip which you would have seen Minister Hochoy say was going to be implemented. How does Trinidad and Tobago look at people who tell you with a serious face when in government the law will be implemented? Watch an Attorney General, Mr. Ram Logan, sit down in a cabinet, sign off on cabinet responsibility in the 2014 appropriation bill. If he disagreed and felt that the law was unconstitutional, he had an obligation to leave the cabinet in 2014. Yet, we are looking at the same people today now approach the courts to say that the law is unconstitutional. You just cannot accept this as any serious consequence. So I'm not perturbed by the issue. I think that this is just political meandering. At the end of the day, the matter will go to court. If it does get to court, and the judiciary will be called upon to make a decision. Let it take its course.
And it's not going to affect the rollout?
No, it will not affect the rollout of the property tax.
And
let me add, the position, the unprincipled, unpatriotic stance that the Attorney General has just described coming from the former Attorney General and now Chief Cook and Bottle Washer in this attack on the state, it is not for the first time. The same thing happened in respect of the Children's Authority. Unprincipled conduct par excellence.
AG, we haven't heard you on the aspect of the rumblings in the law fraternity.
What rumblings?
With the lawyers not...
The Great Wall of China.
Yeah.
Let me
Will you
make,
be attending the Law Association vote on
it would be
June the
infradig
1st?
if I were to attend that. In any event, attorneys general that don't attend those traditionally. The fact is, the Judicial and Legal Services Commission is a creature of the statute. There is a separation of powers which we strictly observe. The judiciary itself has a management structure at the JLSC. That matter is afoot. I cannot complain with the rights of democracy, in particular the Law Association's calls by some of its members. Let that take its course, and no doubt the matter will work its way out.
I want to congratulate the Minister of Works and Transport, my brother and my friend Rohan Sinanan, who delivered on this project today. Only God knows how proud I feel as a member of the PNM and as a member of the Cabinet of Trinidad and Tobago that we would have come here this morning to restart a project on the history that you have heard so well enunciated by the Prime Minister a while ago. And as you look on us this morning, you see a government that is at work delivering the goods and services to the people of the Trinidad and Tobago without noise, without scandal, Monday morning scandals, without corruption. On we go. I felt very, very proud. Let me take the opportunity to publicly congratulate you, colleague, and to congratulate the member for Point Fortin, the Minister of National Security, who has been pushing for this project every minute of the day in the cabinet. Now you have your wish.
Let me just add something that's very important. You're standing in San Fernando West. This highway is headed towards Point Fortin. As the representative for San Fernando West, I'll tell you, and the minister will confirm, that I have lived as a nag in his ear on a constant basis, because right here we're standing in a terrible traffic zone situation. I congratulate this minister and the previous minister on getting the traffic lights open, on doing the drainage aspects, on attending to the flooding issues, on getting the lighting up at Sunset Cove, because for San Fernando this has been a nightmare of epic proportions. So whilst the highway is headed towards Point Fortin, I celebrate today for the people of San Fernando West who have had the difficulties of living with this situation, because San Fernando West is a very measured place. We don't burn tires. We don't protest loudly, but we're very heartfelt in how we feel about what we're doing. So thank you, Honourable Minister.
I want to clarify some of the things in terms of the pricing, but as I have a number of the ministers here, tell me a little bit about the appraisals that took place last week. Were you all pleased with the appraisals given by the Prime Minister at the retreat last week?
The Prime Minister engaged in good team building. It was a wonderful retreat that we had. The success, I've spent 7 years now in political life, and I consider it the best political retreat we've had. And I think it was in no short measure because the Prime Minister himself headed the retreat. And therefore it was a very interactive position which we all participated in and enjoyed.
Put your hands, brothers. It had the effect of making the team very, very strong.
The
Faris?
appraisals were good across the board? Can
Yes,
I say that?
Eddie?
There were no appraisals per se. This was just genuine reflection and team building.
And this was the effect. Made the team stronger and better and ready to work.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
While not
Your pricing for the project.
But
I didn't
this,
quite
all right,
understand
this package was budgeted at 95 million and actually came in at the budgeted figure. So this first package is 95 million.
and that's until the bridge are decreed.
Yeah, then we have the bridge package for a couple bridges that will be rolled out next week, and then we have the third package, which will take us all the way down. So we have about 10. We have about 10 packages to be rolled out on this project. We have a commitment to the people of Point Fortin that this highway is going to reach the Point Fortin at least within the next 2 years. What I wanted to ask NIDCO to do is that if we could find a way to start one of the packages in Point Fortin so that we can be working from San Fernando and from Point Fortin at the same time. What that will do is create a lot of employment for the people of Point Fortin. So I've asked NIDCO to actually start that package down there, and let's put that package out immediately.
And it's going to be rolled out in the next...
Sorry? Well, and Prime Minister said that we were successful in the bond issue. So immediately right there we got $1 billion. So there, so that, well, no, and then the minister, no, this is 95 million, yes. So the Minister of Finance have already been engaged in some of the financial institutions to ensure that we have the money to go forward. And Trinidad still has a very good credit rating. Getting money for projects like this is not going to be difficult. Right now, the priority areas are getting the highway from San Fernando to Point Fortin. There are a lot of problems with this highway in terms of land acquisition and the method in where the previous administration would have gone about it. We want to be very careful. We want to make sure that we consider the residents in all the areas to ensure that the highway could finish. If you noticed today, there were no big set of protests by the OS employees, things like that. We have been engaging them. We have been engaging that section with Mr. Kublal Singh. And as you can see, I mean, the highway have started without any big set of fanfare.
Now, the workers are complaining about jobs, right? Are some of those workers, any effort being made with some of those workers?
Well, what NITCO have done in all the projects that we do at the Ministerial Works is we ask the contractors who have been mobilized to try and assist the residents of the area. Now, a lot of the contractors have a core staff, and they do take on people from the different areas. So I am sure the former workers on this project, a lot of them will be absorbed in the construction going forward, because as I said, it's 10 packages. It's not just one contractor, two contractors going to finish this highway. Once people come in competitive and they qualify based on the engineering standards, we expect to have a couple contractors mobilized on this highway. Same thing with the Waterfield to Manzalena highway, which we expect to be started as early as next month, because the packages are being evaluated now. And then from that, then we look at the Toko, and then we have the Maruga Road. So the construction sector have started. The construction sector have started, and it took a little while because we all know the finances of the country. We had to actually understand what was really going on. I mean, it was a lot of madness taking place. Now we are settled down, and the construction sector could look forward to another fantastic 3 years.
In terms of some of the other challenges, like the relocations of residents and pipelines and stuff, have all of those things been addressed?
Yes. I mean, again, those were some of the challenges that were faced before. Remember, this contract was awarded without proper land acquisition being in place. There are some people who came to me and told me that they were still Section 4, but the highway, NITCO said they don't need the land again. And there are hundreds of millions of dollars that was wasted on land acquisition. And when I say hundreds, I mean way over $1 billion.
Minister?
No. This is within the estimate that we would have done. We're hoping to reach. No, this is an 8-month segment. Yeah, this segment is 8 months.
And this adds on to the
No, the bridges will. I mean, this segment is 8 months. Then you'll have the bridges coming on. If that starts next month, everything will be running basically at the same time. No, this is a separate package.
I just want to switch the conversation a bit. I'm seeing the mayor and the MP for Fortin.
Well,
let me. No. I want to ask you.
Sorry.
The mayor especially has asked. He has said that the highway construction, completion of the highway, as well as the water taxi, would add to the development of Point Fortin. I just want to know what is their plan with the water taxi to Point Fortin?
Well, once the highway construction is completed, I am sure Point Fortin will definitely be something that we would consider to take the water taxis to.
Is that something that's being considered at the moment?
Right now, NITCO is relooking at the entire water taxi situation. They're trying to ensure that we have the proper fleet to operate the system, and I am sure, again, that will be a priority once we have the infrastructure ready. All right, let me just buy. I'm being requested by the Prime Minister.
And the Prime Minister for restarting this project. I prefer to call the project Point Fortin to San Fernando Highway, because as I said to the Minister, he can also start the highway from Point Fortin Leg.
Which we definitely will be doing.
Of course.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
But on the security front, you're aware that residents and were protesting today?
Yes, I am aware, and I know that the law enforcement were present, members of the fire service were present to treat with the situation. I'm fully aware of that. They were protesting for, as I understand it, for water and for jobs and for employment. But I know for a fact that members of the Trinidad Police Service and the Fire Service were present to treat with the situation. Yes, the hospital, in fact, we are in fact dealing with the government contract with VAMED, through the Austrian government, and we're signing the framework agreement right now. So that project is ongoing. As you're well aware, the project has never really stopped. So you see there are horizontal work taking place, and I know for a fact, based on what Minister of Health said to me recently, that the steel is about to be laid, that's the vertical steel, on the site right now. In fact, the steel is, I think, this should be on site.
Now, the tech park next to it was open some months ago.
That's correct.
But there seems to be any businesses still.
All right, there are still some infrastructure development, because we've dealt with some of the persons who receive leases. There's some infrastructure development in terms of preparation for the site that is still to be done. In fact, when we look at where the highway is passing, we're now negotiating with Ministerial Works to have a lay-by put in place to effect the tenancy at the tech park. Yes, the leases were given out on the day that we actually laid the groundwork for it. Leases were given out to people from Point Fortin. I can't give you that now. I can't give you the list of companies, but several people received leases, and they're all from the Point Fortin area.
Minister, there's a development story in Sijos. Recently you had gone in to do a visit of
the national security area.
It's closed presently as we speak. It has been closed for about a month. And we have about 40 Trinidad resident tourists in Venezuela stranded at Canada.
I am not too sure where you get that information from, but my information from the Chief Immigration Officer as recent as this morning, that the port is an official port of entry for persons from Venezuela, and it is open and it is functioning as recent as this morning. So I'm not too sure where you got that information from. In fact, the infrastructure has immigration, customs, and members of the Coast Guard in one building that receives people from Venezuela. So they were processed by immigration and customs officials at the same venue. So as I said, as recent as this morning, Chief Immigration Officer assures me that the port is open and functioning. In fact, there are ferries that come from Venezuela on a weekly basis, twice a week. That's the official ferries. On Mondays, they leave on a Tuesday, they come on a Wednesday, they leave on a Thursday.
But isn't there a problem?
That was stopped, and they have 40...
No, it wasn't stopped. There was a situation where the shipping agent had an issue, and it's up to the shipping agent to treat with that, and that some residents who came in, if they're denied entry, it is up to the shipping agents to get them to return them to Venezuela. So there's an issue with the shipping agents that's being discussed now between the shipping agents and the Chief Immigration Officer. So that so far as the immigration aspect is concerned, that is there and it's present.
Are you aware that there's 40 Trinidadians marooned right now in Venezuela?
Well, no, I'm not aware of this. And why would they be removed? Because the ferries are continuing to come. Ferry service is continuing. So if they're marooned, I'm not too sure what's the reason for that. But the ferry service continues.